Spring has sprung in New England, and on a jam-packed sports weekend here in Boston, a rite of spring in Chestnut Hill, the Jay McGillis Spring football game. Our first look at Boston College football here in 2023 is next. Alumni Stadium on the gorgeous campus of Boston College, home today to a celebration of BC football, as competitive a camp as there's been in the Jeff Hafley era. Alongside Boston College great Mark Herzlich, Kevin Connors here, delighted to be with you. Can't help but feel the excitement in this area right now. College football, part of a great sports weekend here in Boston. Mark, what are you most excited about today?
I'm excited to see these guys come together. I mean, they should have put all of their work in, right? That's what Jeff Hafley told us. All the work in spring should have been done already. Now it's time to just celebrate that. Go out and have fun and play football. And I was at practice on Thursday. There was some chippiness, so I'm excited to see the competition from these guys.
A lot of excitement around the program. There always is this time of year, of course, with spring football underway. 2022 had its share of disappointment, but the good news, Mark, key players are healthy again, and the youth movement is bearing fruit.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about the injuries, and one of the big reason that there were so few plays, as you see on here, is that the O-line missed so much time. And that did not allow them to convert on third down. Defense was always on the field. That's why you see so many passing yards given up. And although they did lose Zay Flowers, they returned a bunch of offensive linemen who now have experience, which will be perfectly set up. Emmett Morehead, who's the first-time starter. He started 4 games last year. He'll start this season off as the starter with Pat Garwo and then Joe Griffin at wide receiver.
A lot of excitement about what we may see from Emmett Morehead here today and in the fall, and we are so happy to be welcomed in by the head coach of Boston College, Jeff Hafley. Jeff, thanks for the time today. How would you describe what you've seen from your team here this spring?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Competitive, totally different feel. We didn't lose much, and we got those guys back from injury. Then we have a bunch of guys who were kind of forced into action last year, so now it's competitive. Guys are fighting for jobs on both sides, and kind of like what Mark said, it's been chippy because jobs are on the line. So we haven't had that. There's still a lot of jobs to be won as we get into training camp, which is what I like. So the competitive spirit and the competitive excellence is probably the biggest difference that I've seen this year.
Coach, you guys are all wearing these kind of different colored sweatshirts right now, you coaches, in honor of the marathon that's going to be held on Monday, 10th anniversary of the bombing. What does this mean to you, and why are you kind of posing those colors today?
Bringing the city together to recognize the courage, the strength, the resiliency that the city of Boston had at that time 10 years ago, and kind of brought together in the city, in our country, and to recognize that. And I think that's really important. And, it's an honor to wear these colors today and be part of this city and try to bring it together.
In the maroon gold game, it's neat to see the blue and yellow there. Coach Jeff Hafley, we look forward to a great game today. Good luck, best of health to you and your team, and we'll chat afterwards.
All right, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks a lot.
Jeff Hafley here, and you take a look at the scoring system in this game. Now, the first half is going to look like a traditional football game, scoring-wise. For the most part, you will be awarded a point for a first down. But then we get to the Mark Herzlich scoring system in the second half, where defense is awarded a lot of points.
Yeah, got to give defense points somehow. Look, touchdown 7. Good. We don't need to kick any extra points. You got points for turnovers, field goals. You're going to be confused as you watch this. We'll try to keep you up. We'll be confused as well, but we're all going to look at the scoreboard together or not look. But Emmett Morehead, he's going to be one that looks at the scoreboard. As I mentioned, he started 4 games last year. Started off with a bang versus Duke. 4 passing touchdowns, 330 yards passing. Followed up with another 300-plus game. And then fell off a little bit versus Notre Dame. 3 interceptions. So which Emmett Morehead are we going to see next season? Not necessarily going to show everything today, but he has a strong arm, ability to use his legs, and they have a vast, diverse wide receiver group. Now that Zay Flowers is gone, look a lot for George Takis, number 80, that big tight end.
Yeah, you talk about Morehead and his big arm. He's a big dude, period, right? Jeff Hafley says he's like an NFL tight end. The difference this year, Mark, being that he knows that this is his team. He knows that he is the quarterback here at Boston College.
Yeah, that's a different feeling. I've had that where you go from being a backup guy to the next year, okay, all offseason, I know I'm going to be the starter. And you just carry yourself in a different manner. And I think that that's what Coach is talking about with Emmett. is that he knows, look, this is my team. I can talk to the offensive linemen a little bit differently. I can lead from out front rather than trying to lead from behind. And I think that plays into his personality, getting to know him a little bit. He is a gregarious guy. He's very outspoken, and the players around him, they definitely feed off that.
Very measured, very thoughtful quarterback. 6'6", 242 pounds, the redshirt sophomore, and we are underway here in the maroon and gold game. Handoff to Pat Garwo, a 1,000-yard rusher 2 years ago, and a short pickup of 2 yards on the opening down. Bryce Steele in on the tackle here. Look at the spring game format. Again, first half will be traditional play. I love the play-to-thud tempo there, Mark, right?
Yeah.
We don't want anybody getting hurt in the spring game. And then the second half, it's more situational.
Yeah, you saw that. You said, whoa. This is football. I didn't take him down. That was what we call thud. You bang him up. Inside, interior, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, they're all live, but no cutting. And then like there, you will see sometimes guys do go to the ground. 2 good stops by the defense early. You saw Bryce Steele, number 2, at linebacker, and Cam Arnold. Both those guys are going to have to step up big for BC's defense on the inside.
First 2 plays here, running plays. And again, they're not going to show a lot of their hand here. But, Mark, I really think that is the emphasis moving forward for this BC team. Offensively, they've got to be more multiple.
Yeah, they do. And Zay Flowers, he was almost 100 yards per game wide receiver for them last year. Everybody's looking forward to seeing where he goes in the NFL draft. There's a nice catch right there.
Jaden Williams, yeah, first down pickup there for Jaden Williams. He's got a gear downfield, they say, kind of like Zay did, right?
Yeah, it's funny. We're talking about Zay, and I think the guy most similar to Zay on this team right now is Jaden Williams. 5'9", 184 pounds out of Texas. And he's a guy who's shown flashes. He has that deep speed. Maybe not as twitchy quick as Zay Flowers was, but they're going to use him in those short intermediate crossing routes like you saw there.
Morehead rolling to his right, and it's complete to Taji Johnson. Taji Johnson with first down yardage there on that one. So Morehead 2 for 2 throwing the football there, a 13-yard pickup.
Yeah, and that would confuse the defense. You see the linebackers all with their eyes in the backfield. Good hard play action out of 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field. And then you get a good look at Taji Johnson, the 6'3", 215-pound senior wide receiver, who will be one of those threats on the outside, along with Joe Griffin, who's out for today.
Well, big changes to Jeff Hafley's staff here. New coordinators on both sides of the football as they go again to Garwo on the ground. But, Mark, Jeff also brought in a former NFL head coach to run the offense. They say he's sort of the head coach of the offensive coaches.
Yeah, he is. Rob Chudzinski, the assistant head coach for offense. There's a lot of titles out there, right? But basically, he's an OG. Like, this guy knows football. And it's so interesting the way Jeff has built this coaching staff. He has some guys where he's mentoring them, other guys who have mentored him in the past, and guys he looks to week in and week out. And Rob's one of those guys who he really respects his opinion and is fully involved with all the game plan, all the decision-making that goes on in that head coaching room.
There's a look at the big arm of Morehead, looking in the direction of Lewis Bond, but it drops incomplete. And then, of course, Steve Shimko, the offensive coordinator. How do you expect play calling to go here with Chudzinski and Shimko?
I honestly, we talked to Hafley about it, and he said, he was kind of coy about it. He wasn't sure who was going to do that when the season starts. But I think Shimko is probably going to call the plays. I think he's going to have the headset. He's going to have that communication with the quarterbacks because he is in that quarterback room day in and day out. So I think that'll be the communication type. But I do think, Shimko is in the best position you could possibly be in as an OC with a guy like Chudzinski above you, kind of coaching you and guiding you in that play calling and analyzing game film.
Great penetration that time by Donovan Ezeraku, who is a lot of excitement about this defense, Mark. And when you talk about the defense, a lot of the conversations start with Ezeraku. Yeah,
and this time last year, it didn't start with Ezeraku, right? He really showed on the scene last year from that defensive end position, a little bit undersized, only 6'2", 250. But he's a guy, he added about 15 pounds in the offseason, got a little bigger. And, you saw a graphic earlier, he led the ACC in solo sacks. I mean, he gets to the quarterback. And that was without Sheeta Salah on the other side, kind of their other edge rusher who got hurt in the first game last season. So with Sheeta Salah back healthy and Donovan Ezeraku, both these guys can be threats in the ACC where you need pass rushers in order to win.
As Araku a season ago among the sack leaders in the ACC, and a big first down pickup there on 4th down to Jeremiah Franklin keeps this drive alive. Play action to Alex Broom. Instead, Morehead will keep it. He'll tuck it up the gut, and nice first down yardage there. Mark, you talked about the impact Araku had on the defense last year.
Yeah, and he was able to get to the quarterback 8.5 times. And this was, he does it in a way that also is disruptive, right? He gets to the quarterback, gets the sacks, but he also is good at getting the ball out and is really good with his eyes. He's able to diagnose the RPO plays and knows when to trigger, knows when to play the run. He's a guy with very high expectations for him in only his true junior season.
Jeff Hafley told us he had options in the portal, but he's a guy that loves Boston College, and they love having him here. Little dump off to Broom, and Broom inside the 10, inside the 5, and he will take it down to about the 2-yard line.
And look, this is good. This is a little bit different, right? You're getting some of those more experienced offensive linemen now out in front, dumping it off to your back who's good at receiving. Alex Broom is a guy that's maybe overshadowed a little bit by Pat Garwo, because Garwo came into last year as a 1,000-yard rusher, but Alex Broom, coaches say, look, he could be an every down back for us, and see a steady dose of 24 and 20 in there today, especially with the ones.
They'll say the thud occurred at the 6-yard line, so that's where they pick it up. 1st and goal from the 6. Morehead to his right, rolling and throwing in a dangerous pass, and it is intercepted by Amarri Jackson.
Yeah, and it's a poor decision, a late decision by Emmett Morehead. He had his tight end, Jeremiah Franklin, open early. C-17 in the back of the end zone. He's wide open. This is what the pass rush did for Boston College defense. They disrupted the throwing lane for Emmett Morehead. He threw late and was intercepted. And those are the types of things, right, that like those just can't happen. You just drove your team down the length of the field. You're in the red zone. You throw an interception. Tough for White, good for Maroon.
Morehead 4 of 6 for 49 yards on that opening drive, but it ends in an interception. And Maroon will take over after this. The Jay McGillis Spring Game, such a special event here at Boston College, remembers an exceptional individual. Jay was a starting defensive back here at BC, so very sadly died of leukemia in 1992. He played for Coach Tom Coughlin, Mark Hertzlich, who you played for as well. This is the remembrance of a special individual.
Yeah, it really is. And Tom Coughlin, he was here as the head coach when Jay passed away, unfortunately. But what he did with that was he decided to develop an organization, a nonprofit, to help children with pediatric cancer in Jacksonville area when he became the head coach for the Jaguars, and then continued that up to New York when he was the head coach of the New York Giants. And they directly help families who have children battling cancer, provide them with food, provide them with medical expenses. And it really is an amazing organization. You saw that last line. They have not had to turn anyone away in the past 2 years because the funding has been there. It's been fantastic.
Marvelous thing to be able to say, and we'll be talking much more about the Jay McGillis Spring Game and the impact of the TCJ Fund coming up. Look at Coach Jeff Hafley, who has Jacoby Robinson in now with the white team at quarterback, and there is a lot of excitement about what Jacoby Robinson can bring to this team.
Yeah, he's got a true freshman out of Texas, 4-star guy, ESPN number 9 rated quarterback in the country coming in. And Coach, he said, I didn't even know how fast he was.
Right.
He got here, and he has a really good arm, and that's why they brought him in. And you see that good arm strength right there, delivering a nice strike on the left-hand side. But he's a guy that can break out and be more of that RPO type quarterback as well. Bring it down and pull it. They said, Coach, he might bang his head on a goalpost if we don't blow the whistle. He's so fast.
Quick release there, and you're right. He said, I can't believe how big and fast he is. Early enrollee out of Henderson, Texas, and he hooked up that time with Dante Reynolds. Midway through the first quarter of the Jay McGillis Spring Game here in Chestnut Hill. Robinson under pressure, and the defense that time, good penetration to get to the backfield and get their mitts on Robinson.
Yeah, and it's a good job by the defense, but unfortunately, that's stuff they saw way too much from the offensive line last year. Just a straight pushback four-man rush, and it got to the quarterback, and you still have a lot of work to do with the entire group of offensive linemen. It's very few teams get through an entire season without one big man getting hurt for at least a few games. And although, guys like Dwayne Alec and Jackson Ness have had a lot of experience because they had to play last year, there's still some work and some fundamental stuff to get done.
Sam Candiotti is on to punt it away, and Jaden Williams watches that take a favorable roll now down inside the 45-yard line. Well, here's a look at the offensive line.
Yeah, we mentioned, right now, you got Ozzie Trapillo. He's kind of slotted as that left tackle. Drew Kendall, who played all the games last year, is a very good center as a redshirt sophomore. And then Christian Mahogany, he was the guy who was an All-American right guard. He got injured last year, tore his ACL in May, was not able to play at all during the season. So those three guys are kind of established. Now it's amongst the other 6 guys who is going to fit into left guard, right tackle. And Coach said there's better competition at that O-line than he's ever had here at BC, which is saying something because they've had some good offensive lines.
Alex Broom. A nice run to the outside, pickup of 5 yards, and it's nice for us to be able to welcome in Azar Abdul-Rahim here, the co-defensive coordinator for the BC Eagles. Coach, gorgeous afternoon and a great start here. What have you seen through the first part of this first half?
Yeah, first of all, it's an awesome day. I think we could improve on our energy, but I do like interceptions, especially interceptions in the red zone. That's a double killer. It's obviously could be a double-digit change of possession beyond just the score. It could actually be a 2-touchdown difference.
Yeah, and Coach, you actually get points for it in this game.
We did. That's 5 points for us. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and they should probably change the rule because you actually gain like almost 3 points at least when you get an interception in the red zone, maybe 7. But when you look at kind of your defensive backfield, you got Amarri Jackson who made that interception. He had hurt some last year. Very high expectations for him. And then on the other side at corner, Elijah Jones, who we've seen really develop, especially last year, almost became a lockdown type corner. What do you see from that defensive back group this spring?
Well, first of all, definitely we have a lot of talent that's returning. Eli's played a lot of football for us, a lot of meaningful snaps. So he's been a leader. We're also allowing him to play a little bit of inside. So he's a very unique player to be that tall and long and able to play slot corner as well. So, yes, he's an extremely talented individual. Amarri is another guy who athletically is just gifted with just impeccable short area quickness and acceleration. He's still learning the game, but the talent is evident. When he makes plays like that in the end zone, it's just a great deal for our defense.
It is, safety is one of those positions that you had a lot of guys on the team last year who are no longer here. Tell me a little about Victor Nelson, transferred in from Long Island University. He's another one of those kind of bigger guys at 6'2", 220. What have you seen from him?
Well, first of all, he's probably one of the most intelligent football players that I've been around. The size is evident, 6'2", 215 pounds. He has a knack for interceptions. He had 9 interceptions last year, and that doesn't matter. I don't care where you play. You get 9 interceptions in a season. That means the ball kind of finds you, so it tells you that he's a very instinctive player. I think we really hit it on him. He's going to be a really great player for us that's going to help us immediately.
That's great, Coach. No, we're excited for today. Love that the sun shines out. This could have been last week where we have rain and such, so no, it's all good. Thanks for spending some time with us, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Azar Abdul-Rahim, co-defensive coordinator here, along with Sean Duggan at Boston College, as Morehead lofts one down towards the pylon, and it drops incomplete in the direction of Taji Johnson.
Yeah, and that was another one of his new DBs, Alex Washington, number 0, transferred in from Harvard right down the street. 6'1", 190-pound corner, another big guy on the outside, does a good job of finding the ball and then getting his head back around. You see him turn back towards the receiver and get his head up. That's why no pass interference was called. You see some of the other transfers. You see Robichaux from Western Kentucky. A guy, look at Ryan O'Keefe. He's wearing number 4 right now today, and it looks a little bit like Zay out there, but he's got some lightning speed. They said he can really take the top off, so let's see if they shoot a deep one to him at all this game.
It'll be Garwo again up the gut, and a pickup of about 3 yards there from Pat Garwo. Just to finish the point about the defensive backs, And we heard Coach talk about Victor Nelson, his 6 interceptions. You talked about Alex Washington's 6 interceptions a year ago at Harvard here. Competition in that room, and that really is the bread and butter of Jeff Hafley.
Yeah, and Jeff Hafley is a DB guy, right? He coached DBs in the NFL. That's his heart for it. And when he found Coach Azar, that was a match made in heaven. And Azar's been with him for a while here at BC, and now has been elevated to that co-defensive coordinator, kind of the pass game coordinator for the defense. And it's just a good opportunity, good situation for both of them, right? Hafley is a guy you trust out there, and Coach Azar, see Elijah Jones making a good play on the ball. Coach Azar has a guy like Jeff Hafley to learn from.
Great pass break up there by Elijah Jones. The defense starring early in this one with maroon on top of white. We're back to Chestnut Hill after this. A gorgeous Saturday in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Boston College spring game where we've yet to see any touchdowns scored, but a lot of scoring so far, and the defense putting up points.
Yeah, and you can read it right there. I could go through all of it for you, but you'd forget it by the time we get this screen off. But all that we can say is there are a lot of points on the board right now and no touchdowns. Right. So the defense has been doing something right.
Here's Matthew Reevy handing it to Kai Robichaud, the Western Kentucky transfer who Mark Hertzlich, when he touched the football last season, he made things happen.
Yeah, he did. And he's an explosive guy, a little bit bigger running back. It's going to be good to have him in the backfield to complement some of the smaller guys.
As we're joined now by Boston College quarterback Emmett Morehead. Emmett, we appreciate the time here on this gorgeous day today.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
Spring football game for you here now as the starter of this team. What's the next step in your evolution as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's getting quick through progressions and taking checkdowns and easy completions and moving the ball forward. Just trying to keep the ball ahead of the sticks and not getting caught in 3rd and long. We were living there last year, and I think that makes it hard on everybody, offensive coordinator and line and everybody. So 3rd and short and first downs and completions is what I'm focused on.
I mean, you got a bunch of guys back from last year. Obviously, some guys were playing maybe before their time, but have had that experience and have developed. What are some guys that you're throwing the ball to now that maybe have taken a next step during this spring ball, and you're really excited to see what they can do during the season?
Well, we got Ryan O'Keefe from UCF, and he's probably the fastest person I've ever seen run. He ran 23 miles an hour last year on the catapult in one of his games, which is, I mean, Zay's just about the quickest human being I know, but Ryan has top-end speed that I've never seen. So it's going to be really fun to work with him. He'll be really explosive for us, and he can take the top off. And then we also have a lot of guys coming back. Joe is going to be one of the top receivers in the country, I believe. He's an amazing athlete. He'll be healthy again. He was playing through a lot last year. And then we have Jaden Williams, who's extremely quick. He can do everything that we're doing with Zay. And then there's a lot of guys that haven't shined yet, like Lewis. Lewis Bond is going to be really good next year. He's super quick, got really good route running ability. He can catch the ball, go up and get it. So we have a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things, and it'll be exciting. George is back too. George is battling through a hell of a lot last year.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great.
And now you're learning a new offense again, right? Where it's tough at times for quarterbacks, but talking to coaches, they said, you've been able to pick it up really well and be able to help coach other guys on it too. Is that one of the things you've always kind of had a knack for, learning offenses, or is that something you've had to develop since you've been here at BC?
Yeah, there's no secret to it. It's a ton of time spent doing board work and film study, and I think the more comfortable I get with it, it's just the more time I spend doing it. And I think I've spent enough time now on each of the playbooks that I've had to learn the past 2 years that I think I can relate a lot of the concepts we're using to things that I've had in the past. And at the end of the day, you can only call so many different plays. I think I'm starting to see a lot of similarities in how we line up and run things. And it's a new playbook, so I think schematically it's definitely different, and the terminology is different, but it's clicking well, and I think the guys love it. I know the receivers are loving it, and our offensive line is happy to have Coach Applebaum back. So we got a lot of good stuff going.
Last question for you. What does the starting quarterback of BC do on Marathon Monday? Where are you going to be? Where are you going to watch the marathon from?
That's a great question. I'll be on the street. I know a couple of people running it, so I'm really excited to see them go, and yeah, we'll be cheering on all day.
Nice. Awesome. Have a good time, man. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
Emmett Morehead, the redshirt sophomore here, who, when he's not hooking up with his receivers, Mark, he's pulling guys out of the crowd and finding them.
Yeah, there you go. Good confidence, little swagger. No touchdown celebration, which is a tiny bit disappointing, but...
Right. Well, you want to avoid the celebration penalties in the spring game, so
It's funny, when I played here, we had a kicker, Steve Aponavicius. He was our starting kicker, and we didn't have a kicker, apparently, at one point. And he came in on a tryout, did basically that. He came in and kicked the ball on the field because this field's open to all the students during the year. And some coach saw him kicking field goals and then tried him out, and he made the team, and he was our starting kicker for 3 years. And so, hey, you never know. Could lead to a scholarship right there.
We saw good hands there on that catch there. Nicely done by the fan as Reeve will throw, and it drops incomplete in the direction of Dante Reynolds. Well, Reeve's an interesting player at the position here at Boston College. He's the cousin of Tim and Matt Hasselback. Just hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities to show what he can do here, the junior out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, and he's got the size. I think he's a very smart kid. He's got a good arm talent. He just has been behind a lot of good players, and I think that is great to see him out here now. He's battling for that number 2 spot with Jacoby Robinson, the freshman we mentioned earlier from Texas. And so those two guys have had really good competition. And talking with Hafley, competition on this team, yes, there is competition, but it's friendly competition. They all want each other to get better, so they've been working hard together to improve as a group.
Reeve throwing in the direction of Xavier Coleman, and it drops incomplete. So we've got a 4th down coming up, and likely another situation where we will see a correction. That was 4th down. No, I was right initially. It'll be Sam Candiati, the punter, coming on, who was a short kick situational guy last year, Mark, but this year the job is his.
Yeah, we had a little shank earlier. I was out of practice on Thursday. He had some boomers. This will be more of a coffin corner type punt, trying to pin them back. But in that last series with Reeve, and we did see some better blocking from that offensive line. More time to throw the ball, some deeper developing routes.
35-yard punt, fair catch made there by Jaden Williams. We have not yet called the name Dino Tomlin, but Dad is in the crowd. You may know him better as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin. And it was interesting to hear different comments Emmett Morehead made toward the end of last season and here in the spring. He's a guy who's got a great connection with Emmett Morehead, Dino Tomlin does. And Jeff Hafley admitted a lot of times last year, look, he should have been playing. His hard work and positive attitude are exactly what they want this program to be about.
Yeah, he transferred in from Maryland before last season and really didn't get as much playing time until later in the year due to injury. But it's seeming like every time they threw number 13 the ball, he would make a great contested catch. He had a huge catch versus Clemson. Obviously, the competition was high there, and had a huge game versus NC State where BC was able to come back and beat the ranked NC State Wolfpack. So he's a guy who's going to be in this mix. You see him rotating in right now, actually, as they go to 11 personnel and a tight end comes out with that number 1 group.
Coaches said he was 7th or 8th on the 2 deep last season. But as Mark said, always seemed to make the most of his opportunities. Spent a lot of time after practices with Emmett Morehead developing their relationship. And he's worked his way onto the field as Morehead hooks up that time with Jaden Williams for a short pickup. 5-yard gain on the play. Well, we've gotten a chance, a couple series now, to see Morehead, the interception early on, obviously inside the red zone. What else have you seen, Mark, from the BC quarterback?
Well, I've seen accuracy. He talked about when he was interviewing with us, going through his reads, and I've seen that happen. I've seen him hit that first read with accuracy. It's the development going to second, third read that he hasn't had to do today, really, but that's kind of the next part of his development right there. Again, it looks like a low throw, but it picks up a first down on 3rd down, and that's the only place he can throw it. So I have loved where he's placing the football. We have yet to see him go deep with his arm strength. I'm anticipating that to happen before this first half is over because he does have a big arm and he can throw it long.
Completion on that last one to Jaden Williams, good for a first down. And we've made mention to it quite a bit. We'll continue to as Morehead throws in the direction of Taji Johnson, and it drops incomplete. And this team losing Zay Flowers, who will be a first-round pick in the NFL draft in a couple of months, a guy who sharpied his name into the Boston College record books. But there is still some depth there in that wide receiver room. I wonder how you think things will be spread out differently without a dynamic player like Zay Flowers.
Well, it's going to have to be spread out. You know, number one, they got to be able to throw the ball downfield. They only attempted pass. The average attempted pass was like 7 yards downfield for Morehead last year, which is it's low. You got to be able to shoot the ball downfield more and spread it out. And I think it's going to really help having George Takis back, big 6'6" tight end in the middle of the field. Him and along with Jeremiah Franklin can provide that threat up the middle. Joe Griffin, the big wide receiver on the outside, 6'4". They can open up some of that space for some of the smaller, faster guys, which we alluded to. So I do think it's going to be less of, hey, where's Zay Flowers? Let's throw him the ball, and more of, we're going to go through our full progressions and let Morehead play, real quarterback.
And there is Joe Griffin there on the sidelines. Again, won't play today, but they feel he's the next great one here at Boston College. Played through some injuries last year. But just to button up the point on Zay Flowers, he accounted for 36% of the team's receiving yards, over 1,000 yards receiving last year. And he'll be coming to an NFL team in a couple of weeks and improving that offense dramatically as they hook up with Alex Broom out of the backfield, close to and now good enough for another first down, an 11-yard pickup. Morehead to Broom, the final play of this opening quarter of the Boston College spring game. Defensively, the Eagles showing out in that first half. Big play made by Amarri Jackson. We're coming back right after this. We expect to hear Zay Flowers' name called in the first round of the NFL draft. Mark Hertzlich, the man sitting next to me, was one of the 213 and counting Boston College Eagles to hear his name called during the NFL draft. 21 first-round picks.
Yeah, look at and a lot of those first-round picks have been from the offensive line. Obviously got Zion, got picked last year. Zay is going to be picked this year. And, Kevin, I have to correct you, actually. Unfortunately, and thanks for making me say this, I was not drafted. I went undrafted.
Undrafted?
Yeah,
You're
went
kidding
undrafted to the Giants. But no, it was. But that weekend, right, is so exciting because you're watching teenagers fulfill their lifelong dream, right? Forget about the money. The money is what it is. But you get kids who grew up being like, I want to play in the NFL. And now they're going to be able to do it, which I think is really, really cool. And to see them a lot of times with their families celebrating that accomplishment, and to realize, you haven't even done like a quarter of your life yet. And you've done something like this, it really sets them up well for the future.
Alex Broom on the reception there. Now, you had extenuating circumstances in your case. Was that a motivator for you that you were not drafted to prove yourself at the next level?
Yeah, it was. And really, after my cancer diagnosis and then being able to, thank God, be able to come back and play football here at BC again, there's obviously, hey, cancer diagnosis, bone cancer, that's a pretty big medical red flag that goes through. So I totally understood why. However, still that chip on my shoulder, and I think regardless of the round you get picked in or if you go undrafted, entering like an undrafted free agent is the only way to do it. You don't want to show up day one with your fancy new car and pretend you know everything, because you are about to enter into a locker room full of people that know what it's like and what it takes to play in the NFL, and you don't yet. you really don't. And so it's I think that's the attitude that all the players that I've seen come in that have been very successful, even like an Odell Beckham Jr. when I was with the Giants, came in and he just grinded. And, he barely played until halfway through the season because he had a hamstring injury, and just grinded day in and day out, and he had success.
And of all of the physical attributes that Zay Flowers has, I think the one thing that most people feel best about is that when he is selected, and again, we expect it to be in the first round, is that the attitude part is going to be there no matter what. Athletically, whether you can perform at the next level will be fleshed out, but there will be no questions about Zay Flowers in terms of attitude.
No, the kid he's a phenomenal player, but he's got great family. He's always smiling. He has this grit about him where he wants to dominate his performance. Not necessarily dominate another player, but dominate the performance he puts out on the field. And so that's why his stock, all reports, it keeps rising, right? It keeps on going up and up and up because they love his film. And then when they meet with him, they're like, okay, this is a guy that we can build a locker room around.
Short run that time by Cam Barfield. And there's a look at Zay Flowers. And again, just such a different look it must be for Emmett Morehead and the rest of the offensive coaches and players on this staff. They knew what a safety valve he was a year ago and what an incredible playmaker he was. And speaking of playmakers so far, we've talked a lot of offensive guys here, Mark. Defensively, Quan Williams, who was in on that last tackle, has made an impact here in this first half.
Yeah, he was a guy who played as a true freshman. Maybe, coaches love redshirting guys because you get another year of development, but he had to play just because of depth. Ooh, almost another interception there. That one by Victor Nelson. We talked about him, the safety from LIU. But Quan Williams is a guy, coaches say he could be the real deal. Like, this guy is big, he's strong, he's physical, and having those big guys in the trenches, BC right now is 4 guys, 300 plus in the trenches. That is when BC is good. When they can play well against the run, force teams to pass it on the outside, and Jeff Hafley's defense will blitz and take care of that.
Well, you've got to have it in the ACC, right? Yep. I mean, you've got to be able to match up against these larger offensive lines and terrific running games. You've just got to have the bulk there. Yeah, you do, and it also allows the linebackers to flow sideline to sideline. Because of the RPO, having big 300-pounders at the 3 technique and the nose guard allow linebackers' eyes to be a little softer. They don't have to go downhill as fast, and they can protect against some of the RPO shots behind them. 18-yard pickup that time to Taji Johnson, who they're waiting for him to do it in the fall, Mark, because the last 2 spring games, and again here today, he's really sparkled. Yeah, he has, and he's a guy, he's been on this team for a long time. He's always a reliable valve for the quarterback to get the ball to. And he's a guy that knows all the positions. Now he's lining up on the inside slot. He'll probably end up at the X, but he's a guy that will block really well. He'll catch the ball, and he kind of do everything for this team. On that reception, too, I was impressed with Emmett Morehead's footwork, kind of navigating the pocket, not necessarily running, but finding an open lane to throw the football. Short 2-yard pickup by Pat Garwo. We spent some time talking about the offensive line and competition that we'll see at a couple of different positions here and just how injury-riddled they were a season ago, and running the football was such a challenge. What stood out to you about the run blocking here so far? Yeah, so the run blocking is going to be a big deal. We've seen, last year we saw a lot of zone blocking schemes from the offensive line, and we've seen a few gap schemes here, meaning they're getting pullers out in front, and those pulling schemes are more complicated for offensive lines to learn. But Matt Applebaum has been fantastic as the O-line coach here at Boston College. He was not here last year. He was with the Miami Dolphins, but the prior 2 years he was at BC when they had the phenomenal offensive lines. He left to go to the NFL, and actually as he was leaving the Dolphins, he had offers from 2 different NFL teams to come be their offensive line coach. He decided he wanted to come back to BC and grow this group. He saw a lot of the raw talent they had last year, and that has allowed them to develop some of these pulling schemes, these gap schemes that make it very difficult for linebackers and safeties to get their eyes right against the run game. You saw Trapillo, Kendall, and Mahogany, the 3 offensive linemen who are expected to be etched onto that first deep throughout the year as Morehead throws, hit as he throws, and down inside the 1-yard line. Catch made again by Taji Johnson. 19-yard pickup down to the 1-yard line. How about Morehead under pressure in this throw? Hey, you don't want your quarterback on the ground. Yeah, that's why they're wearing those black pennies. Don't touch them. But that one was just Donovan Ezraku. Well, watch that. Oh, my goodness. He just bull rushed Ozzie Trapillo, the left tackle, right into Morehead. And no maroon jersey touched the black jersey. So that's okay. But you know that Jeff Hafley's going to be in his ear like, hey, make sure you know where Emmett is. Don't do that. That's the franchise there. Here's Garwo, and great penetration that time by the defensive line, and it's Sheeta Salah getting in there. Yeah, and Sheeta Salah on the other side. Let's take another look at this bull rush because, at 6'2",
250 pounds. This is one of the things that I love about Ezaraku, his ability to use that low leverage at 6'2", to get those hands up under the chest plate of the bigger offensive lineman. Ozzie Trapillo stands at 6'8", so it's a natural leverage that he uses to his advantage, and that's how he got so many of his sacks.
Loss of 1 on that last play, 2nd and goal from the 2, throwing end zone, and it's Tomlin who brings it in. Dino Tomlin, our first touchdown, and nice celebration.
Well, there you go, red zone. You get down the red zone the first time down there, you throw that interception because you don't progress through your reads quick enough. There's a happy papa right there. Taught him everything he knows. But this is, it's you know, we talked about it, like every time Dino caught the ball, it would plays like that. Like he was making big plays in the red zone. He was making big 3rd down catches down the sideline. And when you can dance like that, you might as well be targeted in the red zone. That's nice.
A little flair to the spring game here at Chestnut Hill. Connor Litton coming on. The kicking spot, there will be a competition for this year, but Mike Tomlin watches the extra point go through for Connor Litton after the tremendous dance moves by Dino Tomlin.
Yep. And he goes fittingly spread Boston College Eagle up on top of the offensive lineman. It's a happy pop. It's funny. You know, there's something about BC that is appreciated by different head coaches. Mike Vrabel's son, who's the head coach of Tennessee, he was here. Obviously, Mike Tomlin's son is here. And you know, these guys understand the value that the Boston College education provides, along with the opportunities to play football and excel past the game. So it's nice to see people who, they've seen a lot of players from different schools and say, hey, I'm okay with my son going here.
Well, you know, we've seen celebrations in the BC spring game in the past. Maybe the best coming last year when Christian Mahogany, out of the Wildcat mark, takes it in, brings it in for the touchdown, and then the celebration. And these are like flashbacks to my own college days right there. They're the keg stand. Fabulous celebration by Mahogany. He said Quentin Nelson did it. That's a guy I'd like to pattern my game after.
Yep.
And I'm going to do it too.
Yep. You see Mahogany right there. And we talked about Jacoby Robinson, the quarterback. This was that last play as we were showing that amazing highlight. But this is the type of run ability that Jacoby Robinson has. Right off that zone read, it's a different look. Like, we did not see any zone read from Emmett Morehead. Now Jacoby's in, sprinkling in some of that zone read. And that could be very beneficial. You know, I'm not a huge fan of using a 2-quarterback system, but that's something that we will look at the future for Jacoby.
A little bit of a broken play that time after Jacoby Robinson broke one open. And while we have a moment, let's welcome in Donovan Ezaraku, who's already had an impact here on this spring game. And Donovan, we were just joking, Mark and I were, that we saw the last possession, got a little close to Emmett Morehead that time.
Yeah, I got a little close. I got to stay away. Halo over the quarterback, you know.
Yeah, I told him, I said, look, there was no maroon jersey touching the quarterback, right? You just bolt the offensive lineman, you bolt Ology back into him. So, yeah, that's not on you. How have you developed this offseason? When you look back at your film from last year, really a breakout year, fantastic job getting the quarterback, but what things did you take from that and say, oh, hey, I need to refine this, or I want to work on this type of pass rush instead? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, so over this offseason, I decided, or we talked to with the coaches and stuff, I had to get my weight up. That was a big thing. I was playing at 240 last year. I know the depth chart said I was 237 when I was playing at 240 last year.
There you go. Get it right. Make sure you get it right.
I just wanted to, work on my power. That's the biggest thing coming into this offseason. Work on my power and still being able to, keep my speed and keep my explosiveness off the edge. So that was a big emphasis this offseason.
Well, you showed good power rush on that last one. You got up. Now, I'm saying it shows you at 250 right now on my chart. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
So nice.
250, 252,
there you go.
Whatever.
So we're going 10, 12, 13 pounds of muscle that you put on. I saw, Sheeta kind of dealt with that as well when he first got here putting on weight. Were you guys able to talk at all just in terms of that weight gain? Has been something that both of you had to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a big emphasis between us. We came in the college light, around 220, both of us. We just wanted to work on getting our weight up, building that power so, we could look the part as well as, be the part, bringing that juice off the edge.
And now your defense, right? This is a defensive head coach. You took a lot of pride in your defense last year.
Yep.
I came to practice on Thursday. Just saw a lot of fight and vinegar from you guys. How well have you guys come together as a group? And what's your confidence level right now as a defense?
Yeah, we're very confident. You know, the biggest thing that we've been preaching this offseason is, you know, violence, technique, and finish. You know, that's our VTF. That's what we want to bring every single day. Bring that juice, bring that confidence. And we've definitely done a good job of, you know, staying tight and getting tighter this past offseason. And, you know, just looking to carry that through summer, through camp, and then through the season.
Donovan, you had options, no doubt, following last season here, and you decided to stay at Boston College.
Sure.
Well, why is that?
Just loyal to my coaches, loyal to this program. Coach Hafley, you know, he bet on me, you know, coming out of high school when a lot of schools didn't bet on me coming out of high school. They give me a great opportunity here. And I love the system, I love the coaches, and I just love BC, so.
How about the relationship you have with Azar Abdul-Rahim? What's that like?
Yeah, Coach Azar is my guy. Definitely brings a lot of juice, a little spunk, a little more fun to the defense. Try to play a little bit more free and downhill. But the two defensive coordinator systems have been working out. It's a different vibe, I feel as though, from last year, but it's a good different vibe. So.
Now we asked Emmett this as well, but where are you going to watch the marathon from?
I'll be watching it on campus.
There you go.
I'll be watching it on campus.
It is the best place in Boston, in my opinion, to watch the marathon. Have fun, and thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Donovan Ezaraku with us, mile 21 here on the Boston College campus.
There's a good shot of the D-line coach, Vince Ogabasi. He's done a phenomenal job with these guys. You know, Donovan mentioned being 220 pounds at 6'2", coming in at defensive end, building that weight, using technique, finding the skill sets that fit his players the best, and he's really developed some of the younger guys too. Neto Akpala is a guy who came in last year and really showed out towards the end of the year. Josh Hardy as well. Clive Wilson is a guy that they're excited about. He was hurt last year because he, as a true freshman, was injured during basketball season in high school, but he's healthy again. So they have a lot more depth at that edge rush position than they did last year.
Edwin Kalenge came on at the end of the season last year, had a big game against Syracuse, and then they infuse their own player from the transfer portal, George Rooks, a Michigan transfer, who they hope will have an impact as well.
Yep.
You see Rooks on the field there wearing the number 91 jersey. He's had his moments here in the spring. He played 9 games in a Wolverines uniform. 4-star recruit out of the state of New Jersey. And he'll hope to have an impact here at Boston College. Morehead again under a lot of pressure, and there you go. That front four getting to the quarterback once again.
See the rush off the left side. Number 4. Let's see his back of his jersey.
Neto Akpala,
Neto Akpala
yeah.
Changed his jersey up on us, made it difficult.
Not appreciated for the broadcasters in the spring game. Number 4, Akpala, as we near the 5-minute mark of the second quarter in the BC spring game. The Jay McGillis spring game, it's a celebration of Boston College football, but it still is an opportunity to remember one of the greats to wear this uniform. Jay was a starting defensive back here at Boston College, lost to leukemia in 1992. His number 31 jersey, which is retired, is presented in this spring game to a player who best exemplifies the personal qualities unique to Jay McGillis. And in a sport marked with so many great traditions, this one ranks near the top.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then on senior day, that player who wins this award wears that number 31 jersey for senior day, which is really special. And it's always an honor keeping Jay's memory alive, and also the work that the TCJ Fund does. For more information, you go to tcjfund.org. But it is really a special ceremony at halftime that's going to take place.
Well, and you're a member of the board, the TCJ Fund,
Yep.
right? There's a big event on Wall Street coming up that you'll be a part of.
Yeah. So, Tom Coughlin started the J Fund when he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he asked me to be on the board of it after my rookie year with the New York Giants, as we had similar stories going through Boston College, being diagnosed with cancer. Been able to go and visit a bunch of these kids at the hospital and just see them light up, going through such difficult times, but the resilience of their parents and the support that the J Fund can provide them is outstanding. And Boston College is a Wall Street Council, and they do an event every year. Tom Coughlin is going to be honored for a Lifetime Achievement Award at that Wall Street banquet in a few weeks. And so congratulations to him and all his success, not only in football, but the work he's done off the field and represented Boston College very, very well.
Reeve will throw, has a man, and it's caught down inside the 5-yard line. That's Xavier Coleman out of the backfield. He's shown the ability to catch passes, and he does right there on a 26-yard pickup.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way they're using Xavier Coleman. He was a guy who lined up purely in the backfield last year. Now they're moving him out to some of the slot positions, as you see there, coming from inside out, and you can get some of those matchup issues with safeties, with nickelbacks, and you see his concentration. It's a phenomenal catch. Not the biggest guy, only 5'7", 180 pounds, but you see his ability to run routes and get open.
Coleman lined up in the slot. They had Broom out of the backfield. Throw to the end zone. It's caught. It's a touchdown. Charlie Gordonier hauls it in from 4 yards out.
Dan Gordonier, he's been a guy, he's been around for a while. You've seen a lot of good tight ends come through Boston College, and he's always been one of those guys who's been a great blocking tight end, a good special teams player. You saw his hands there, and with the depth at tight end, they have about 8 tight ends on their roster, and a bunch of them are upperclassmen. You're able to work that middle of the field. Good throw by Matt Reeve down and away from the defenders.
Gordonier just kind of posted up in the end zone. Here's Liam Connor on to attempt the extra point. And it's good. The kickoff specialist from a season ago competing now with Connor Litton for the job. And Reeve on that drive, 2 of 3, 30 yards mark, and that touchdown.
He has a good drive downfield, and the defense just kind of opened the door for a couple different things to happen. Obviously, that big catch by Xavier Coleman was the spark, and then capitalizing on it, that's where you need to take that next step to put points up on the board. Would like a little bit better eyes out of the young linebackers there and on the middle. Once that got quarterback sets, you need to find the closest receiver. A good delivery. Baldwin up in the stands, high-fiving some future Boston College students.
I had a chance to walk around the campus yesterday, Mark, my first time here to Chestnut Hill, and seeing this campus, what a spectacular place to be able to go to school, and it's such an alive time here in New England and the Boston area. Really a great time to be on campus.
Yeah, you brought some future BC students as well.
That's right.
You had the kids out here. They're out. My kids are out here somewhere too, terrorizing probably Baldwin, pulling on his tail. But no, they can't. I mean, it's a gorgeous campus. I remember when I first saw that shot of it, right? In prime Harry Potter era, where I grew up reading the books, right? I was like, that looks like Hogwarts. I want to go there. That's what higher education's supposed to look like.
A fabulous campus here, and it's kind of the tight end portion of the spring game there. George Takis, a 22-yard pickup.
If George Takis can finish this season healthy, he could have a monster year. He's a huge tight end target, transferred in last year from Notre Dame, 6'6", 240 pounds. He was going to come out after last season, but because of injuries, his production was lower. Nice little naked there. His production was lower, but he talked to coach, and they looked at kind of where he was in the draft projections and one of the later round guys. So he said, hey, I'll come back for another year because everyone has eligibility after that 2020 season. And he has the size, but also the top end speed. Coach says, he is one of the faster players. Doesn't look as fast as the long stride length. One of the faster players on this team, and he can be a threat down the middle of the field.
Well, the numbers weren't there at Notre Dame, but there was a big reason why. He was playing behind another guy who's going to be a first-round pick. And Michael Meyer, they're the great tight end at Notre Dame. And to your point, I think the coaches were a little bit surprised that Takis is back, and they are more than happy to have his ability as Garwo hauls one in from Morehead there, a short little 6-yard pickup.
And I like that Morehead's still in, right? A lot of times the starting quarterback, maybe he'll come out, but It's just practice, and he's not going to get hurt. He's a guy who needs as many reps throwing the football as he can. They're still going to coach off this tape. And so he's still in there playing, almost throwing an interception to another guy who decided to come back, Vinny DePalma, who was an all-ACC linebacker last year. And look at Vinny's eyes. Watch 42. You see how he turns and finds the receiver? Okay, I see the initial drop back of the quarterback. I see where he's looking. Let me look my eyes towards the wide receiver, and that put him in position to drop an interception. Sorry, Vinny.
Vinny back for his 6th year, his 6th spring game. He's a guy they say likes being in college. My advice to Vinny, stay as long as you can.
Yeah, was that Billy Madison? Don't you ever say that. Stay in college. No, but and Vinny DePalma, I've gotten to know him really well over the past few years, and I mean, he's a guy, just a tough, physical, intelligent leader of this team. And with so many young players getting experience and now kind of stepping into big playing roles, honestly, like if you're a general manager of an NFL team, Vinny's the type of guy you want to stick around because he can show players how to do it every single day. And he's a reliable guy. He had some amazing 4th down stops last year in crunch time.
Morehead throwing deep, and for the 2nd time this game, that's going to be an interception inside the 5-yard line. Amarri Jackson, his 2nd interception of the game.
Just great positioning. And this is what size does, right? 5'10", you're a little bit taller than the wide receiver you're going up against. Really good help from the safety, Amarri Jones. And you see, that's worth where are we at right here? Interception. Turnover, 5 points. That's great. 5 more points. And this is the highest scoring game I think Boston College has had in a long time.
A pick 5 that time by Amarri Jackson there with a big interception. The defensive backs have sparkled so far in this Jay McGillis BC spring game.
Yep, they certainly have.
All right, so now you want situational plays, right? You've got Jacoby Robinson in, the true freshman, early enrollee with 1:40 to go, and you want to see what he has in the 2-minute drill.
Yeah, this is just that. Start the 2-minute drill off with an easy completion, easy run. Usually screens or draws you always look for, especially when you're going against that NFL-type offense. You pick up a few yards. If you don't get the few yards, then you get to regroup and huddle up.
And you can see Jeff Hafley in there in the huddle right now, coaching up his young quarterback. After the 3-yard completion to Kai Robichaud.
All man-to-man across the board for BC.
Robinson will dump it off again to Robichaud, sort of a safety valve there on a 3-yard pickup.
Situationally, it seems like they have 3 timeouts left. You'd like to see him pass a little bit more towards the outside in this area of the field with only 50 seconds left, 57 seconds left. But on 3rd down, the whole field's open because if you get that 1st down, obviously the clock stops at the 1st.
Guard near the man in motion. Blitz is on. Nice play by Robinson to find his man out of the backfield, and that is a positive pickup there, a good pickup to Robichaud. It's a 16-yard gain.
It's what they call a scan screen. The running back kind of scans across the front of the formation before he releases for his route. The eyes of the linebackers have to stay with their man. Sometimes there's pass-off issues between the linebackers. Another good pickup. Don't love repeating the same play twice in a 2-minute drive, but again, this is not what they're going to do during the season. They're working on specifics.
Right, and that is something Jeff Hafley pointed out, and we mentioned it earlier. You're not going to see exactly what Boston College is going to do offensively in this game as Robinson unleashes that cannon of a right arm down the sidelines, and it drops incomplete in the direction of Ishmael Zamor.
Yeah, you saw the arm strength. He was a little bit under duress. He He got the ball out there. Want to get a little bit more loft on it, but again, he's a guy. He's young. They're excited about him. You see him commanding the number 2s in the huddle, and as a true freshman, that's hard. Like, this guy, it basically could be in high school still. Doing a great job.
Right, getting acclimated from being away from Henderson, Texas, now here in Boston and learning a whole new offense and new teammates as he tried to find Xavier Coleman out of the backfield on 2nd down.
Couple shots towards the outside. You see the pressure right there. There's George Brooks, probably not advised to grab the collar of your quarterback. Yeah. Teaching moment for George. He probably knows better.
Maybe a little hazing here. Welcome to the program, young buck. Although George is welcome to the program, too, the transfer out of Michigan.
Yeah.
Robinson trying to dance around there in the backfield. And a very short game, maybe a negative play on that one.
Yeah, and they're excited about Brooks because he's a guy a little bit bigger, about 270, 280 at 6'4". He can play 5 technique. He can play inside at 3 technique. And you see him in there on this 2-minute drive because I can see him being in that pass rush, 3rd down type defense where you get some of the 300-pounders on the interior out so you can do more of the stunt games with your pass rushers.
No time on the clock, but it's another opportunity to get Sam Candiotti out there, the Australian former rugby player, punting it away to Jaden Williams, a 46-yard punt. And it will be the final play of the first half here from Chestnut Hill.
Love that name, Candiotti. Candiotti. I don't know why. I had to do that. It's a fun day. Like, spring ball to me is always the best, right? You're with your guys again. Everybody's in the locker room. You're sweating together. You're out there working hard. And there's, games are great, but also they add stress, right? There's no stress right now in this spring game. Guys are going out there and just having fun and performing. And I think as a coach, you want to encapsulate that, right? Especially during different times of the season where things get tough, where things are going really good. Like, remember that spring game when you're having fun. Channel that fun. I mean, we're playing a game out here, and you're seeing that right here today in a fun first half. Good time.
We've seen some young players step up here in this celebration of Boston College football. Great celebration by Dino Tomlin as well. And when we come back, we will award the Jay McGillis TCJ Fund Scholarship coming up right after this. Kevin Connors, Mark Hertzlich back. The Jay McGillis Spring Game, such a special event on this campus, remembering an exceptional individual. Jay was a starting defensive back here at Boston College, the heart and soul of those early 90s Eagles teams. So very sadly, Jay died of leukemia in 1992, but his presence is still so notable within this program. His number 31 jersey presented in this spring game to a player who best exemplifies the personal qualities unique to Jay McGillis. Let's send it out to our public address announcer.
Defensive back who best exemplifies the personal qualities of Jay, including team dedication, leadership, competitive spirit, and personal concern for family, friends, and teammates. Joining us on the field, our head coach, Jeff Hafley, and members of the McGillis family, including Jay's mom, Patricia, his brother, Paul, and Paul's daughters, Brianna and Kaylee, sister Jennifer, brother David, and David's wife, Christine, and 2-year-old Jackson. Fans, this year's recipient of the Jay McGillis Memorial Scholarship, hailing from Harlem, New York, number 1, Elijah Jones. This football season, NWN Carousel partnered with Boston College Athletics to present Intercepting Cancer. For every interception Boston College had this season, NWN Carousel pledged to donate $500 to the Tom Coughlin J Fund, a foundation created to honor Jay McGillis and help families battling cancer. Joining us today are representatives from NWN Carousel, Andrew Gilman and Matt Curran. They are pleased to present a check for $3,500 to the McGillis family on behalf of the J Fund. Please give a warm round of applause for both organizations. NWN Carousel, the official cloud communications provider of Boston College Athletics.
What a fantastic moment on the field of Alumni Stadium here at Boston College. Elijah Jones, the worthy recipient of the Jay McGillis Scholarship. And when we come back, we will chat with the sixth-year defensive back, Elijah Jones, right after this. Stadium in Boston, Massachusetts, the Jay McGillis Spring Game. We just had the Jay McGillis Memorial Scholarship awarded to a very worthy recipient, Elijah Jones. And Elijah joins us now. Your sixth year here in the program, Elijah. You've seen this award handed out quite a bit of times. What does it mean to be honored with it today?
I mean, this is an extreme accomplishment. You see what Jay McGillis has done and what he's done within the program and the trials and tribulations he's faced. And he's honestly the epitome of a BC man. And the people that you see get this award earlier, like last year you saw Jaden Woodby have it. My freshman year, Lucas Dennis had it. And it's just, you see the lineage of just DBs that come and go and the epitome of what it is to essentially be a BC man that he's representing.
Now, Elijah, you got a new number on than last year. We talked about this the other day a little bit, but you're sporting that number 1. You look lean and sleek in it. What prompted the change?
It's the last go around, man. It's do or die, and I just want to revamp myself. You know, I put on a lot of pounds. I just wanted to change my game. I don't know if you see if I'm playing a little more inside, and it's just a revamp. I lost some people. I lost my brother this past year, and I'm just ready to put a lot of things behind me and just revamp and have a new year.
Well, we are praying for you and your family with the loss of your brother for sure. When you have this type of team and this type of atmosphere, what does it mean today to be able to see guys on the other side like Amarri Jackson haul in 2 interceptions off your offense? I
mean, it's great. We lost a lot of people last year. You know, Jason Major left, Josh Berry, Jaden Woodby, but those are my brothers. But we also have, you know, people here that are ready to step up. I mean, we got some transfers in like Victor Nelson and Alex Washington, Kareem Johnson, and it's good to see Amarri Jackson step up and Jalen Cheek step up. We have a lot of depth, and I'm excited to see what it's going to be like in the DB room.
Awesome. Well, Elijah, thanks for taking some time. Congratulations on the honor.
Thank you.
Elijah Jones led the ACC in pass deflections a season ago and awarded the Jay McGillis Memorial Scholarship. Second half action coming up from Alumni Stadium after this. Well, given some of the offensive struggles a year ago, how nice is it to see a 43-33 game here at the Boston College Spring Game? We're at the half, sort of unique scoring, and it'll get different here as we move on in the second half. And Matthew Reevy is on for the first time throwing deep, and look who's there to make the play. Once again, it's Amarri Jackson. Mark Hertzlich, his 3rd interception.
So I think we're going to need a replay. I'm pretty sure Amarri Jackson just lined up at wide receiver and didn't switch jerseys because they're moving the football forward and he was covered by another person in like jersey. So I think he was playing offense. I think he was playing with some wide receiver. We talking to Jeff Hafley about having fun. There we go. Yeah, there's a maroon covering maroon. Amarri Jackson's playing wide receiver at that X position. Good release. Look at that release. Good delivery. Tell you what, when you play a different side of the ball, you know how to get that release against your own technique. Hey, we're coached this way. Let me attack that way. It's a big play.
That one in the direction of Dante Reynolds. Look, I guess Jackson's caught as many passes as anybody else out there today. It's just 2 of them have been on the defensive side.
Yeah.
So he lines up on the offensive side that time.
I'll tell you what, I mean, having guys that can do multiple things is always beneficial. He's too good a DB to be playing much wide receiver, but you never know. Sprinkle him in here and there. It's fun to see. You see Jeff Hafley's having fun today.
Running time here in this second half as Reavie is under pressure, but he connects with Matt Reagan, his tight end, redshirt freshman, for a 7-yard gain. Again, you see 30 minutes on the clock here. Running time in the second half. Situational football, no punting or field goals. And again, a lot of points awarded on the defensive side of the ball. We've seen a couple of turnovers already, some pick fives in this game. Where the defense, and you were at practice on Thursday, the defense was the story then on Thursday, and it's been the case again today.
Yeah, defense was doing a really good job of kind of stifling all the drive. Now, I will say this, the offense has done a really good job, apart from a few series, of moving the ball and at least picking up a first down. The importance of picking up a first down in a drive in college football is massive, because that gets everything started, allows your offense, or allows your defense to get a little bit of a rest. It chews some clock, and I think it's good sign to see the ability to run the ball, to play action, to get some of these shots downfield on the offensive side.
Reavie on a 4th down here, hands it off. Nice looking run by Broom down inside the 5-yard line, and it's good enough for a first down. Just barely 2-yard pickup for Broom.
We mentioned Broom earlier, but he's a guy that they love. And none of these running backs, I mean, you go and you line them up, they all look pretty much the same. They're 5'7", 5'6", 180 to 190, and they kind of do similar things, but Broom has excelled in the receiving game last year as a true freshman. You see him navigating the inside run well here in the spring game.
All-start called on the offense. Well, you made the point. They add Kai Robichaud to the room, and he's the tree in the room there, right?
Yeah, at 6 foot, he's the tall guy, towering over the rest of the crew.
High snap, but Reavie fields it on the bounce, and a wise play just to throw it away right there on first down.
Number 60, Kyle Hergel, transferred in from Texas State. They're excited about what he provides at depth as well. Started 10 games last year for Texas State. His 3rd-team All-Sun Belt performer. Guy with experience. They also brought in Logan Taylor. He's playing right tackle there, number 65, who was the starting tackle for Virginia last year for 10 games. So they're bringing back a lot of guys who gained experience last year as young players, and also some transfers in that have experience starting and playing games. There's some of the transfers right there. You see the 2 offensive linemen. We mentioned O'Keefe's speed, but you saw on the back end too, they brought in Johnson and Nelson. Nelson already made a big play on a pass, as well as Washington. 3 DBs to kind of fill in the spots that were left by Jaden Woodby and Josh DeBerry and CJ Burton, who are all no longer with the team.
That throw to Zamora in the end zone is broken up. We haven't seen a lot of Ryan O'Keefe. I wonder if that might not be by design somewhat. He's not going to sneak up on anybody, but he's a 5th-year UCF transfer, a guy who they used as a bubble screen threat there at UCF, but I think that his role here might be a little bit different, Mark.
Yeah, I think with his speed, you can do a lot of things with him. And I think what they're most excited about him for, honestly, is his in the return game. You know, they initially have a dominant kick and punt returner that they can use in some of the gadget plays where they had to use Zay last year.
28-yard field goal by Connor Litton is up and good. First made field goal in this one today from Chestnut Hill with maroon on top of white. Back at Alumni Stadium, the Boston College spring game, and we're joined now by the new offensive coordinator of the Eagles, Steve Shimko, promoted to offensive coordinator this offseason after serving as the quarterback coach last year. We got about a half and some change in the books here. Coach Shimko, what have you seen from your offense today?
You know, these guys are doing a great job. It's been not just today, but the whole spring. I've said it a few times, the amount of work that they've put in since all this got announced and the changes and everything. They just hit the ground running. They've done a great job, incredible job just coming together, doing everything they can, being hungry for extra work, learn more, do more, doing whatever they can. What they want is to make sure that something like last year doesn't happen again. They just want to win games. They want to do everything they can to become better players, and they're becoming better teammates at the same time.
Coach, as you reviewed the year last year and kind of looked at, hey, we need to change this and there, what was one main focus in spring ball that you said, hey, we need to shore this one thing up before we can do anything else?
Yeah, we have to run the ball. And, it kind of goes twofold. Getting healthy and then just finding out what we do well, what our guys do well. It's great to have the plays on paper. Every play on paper always blocks up every guy and scores a touchdown. But what does it really come down to as far as what do our guys operate the best? And that goes from the O-line to the running backs to the quarterback getting us in the right play. What do we do best? How can we play clean football, have our IDs right, and then do a great job of just working with our personnel to put them in the best situation to be successful? So that was like the number one thing. And Coach Chud and then Coach Apple, they've been doing a great job. And just being able to put this together with Drew and the O-line. Our running backs are working really hard to get their tracks right. Coach Huggins is doing an awesome job. Coach Bukar, just behind the scenes, being able to do everything he's done. And this run game has been awesome. I can't say enough about the O-line and what they've been able to do and the work they've put in. So we're really appreciative of that. And getting healthy was the other thing. We got a lot of depth now, we feel. We still don't really have Mahog's back, and he'll be a big spark come training camp, just the attitude and what he brings to the table. But the guys have done a great job. Drew's done a great job of being a leader and putting us in the right situation. And really, they're coming off the ball, playing with confidence. So it's been really fun to watch and develop that run game.
Yeah, we're not going to see Mahogany score a touchdown and do a keg stand in this spring game, unfortunately. We did see Amarri Jackson catch a long pass. You going to sprinkle him into the offensive game plan at all?
I guess we'll just have to wait to see. That was cool. That was actually just spur of the moment. Coach Chud, Coach Half, and Coach Wyatt talked about it. I was like, let's just throw it. We watched him catch the interception, which wasn't great for the offense, but it was like, man, I think that guy can catch a ball, and he can track the ball pretty well. So he went out there, caught an explosive. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, and pretty good inside release, too, on Washington. So, hey, never know where you can find talent. Coach, thanks for joining us for this time, and best of luck this year.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Steve Shimko, new offensive coordinator at Boston College, part of a revamped coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball with the associate head coach Rob Chudzinski in there as well. A name that, if it's familiar to you, it's because he's the former head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and he was the architect of Miami's BCS championship team. Well, here's a look at the schedule in 2023. The Eagles coming off a 3-9 season last year. I guess, Mark, at first blush, the good news here, 7 of the 12 games are at home, and they don't play a true road game till week 4.
Yeah, other thing you notice, you don't see Clemson, you don't see UNC, and you don't see Notre Dame on this schedule. So, things as far as the way that this new ACC model is shaped up, it looks pretty good for Boston College. They got to win those first 3 games. Florida State is going to be a tough one. At home, they're going to get them September 16th. Florida State looked fantastic last year, 10 wins. And then Louisville, we'll see what they bring. They have a new coach, obviously, there. And then you see the other games are winnable. They can win them. We don't know what Pitt's going to be like. We don't know what Miami is going to be like. So that one game, October 28th, all the BC fans are saying we cannot lose to UConn again this year. So got Jim Moore out there doing really good work with those Huskies. And then you see this is the new structuring format where there used to be the Atlantic and the Coastal divisions. Now the top 2 teams in the conference, not the best in the Atlantic and the best in the Coastal, will play for that championship game. And each team is designated 3 primary opponents that they'll always play. Boston College will always play Pitt, Miami, and Syracuse. And then they will play, as you see, the other 10 opponents twice over the 4 seasons, which I think is going to be great. They had a kind of a glimpse of it during that pandemic year where they got rid of Atlantic and Coastal. I think there was some good competition, and you saw some of the teams that you really wanted to play each other.
Well, and we've talked about it off air. To me, eliminating the 2 divisions prevents you from being locked into a situation at the end of the year where it's division champ versus division champ to play in your conference championship game. I've always argued, if you've got the 2 best teams in your league with an opportunity to play for potentially a college football playoff, why lock it into something just based off of geography? Put the 2 best teams against each other at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see Clemson and Florida State last year had the 2 best winning records overall, as well as North Carolina, obviously in conference. But I think there's a desire from the fans to see this. Now, for coaches, it becomes more difficult. You know your division, right? You know the ins and outs of Wake Forest, NC State, Louisville, if you're that Boston College staff, because you play them every year. Now it's going to be a little bit different because you will play all these other different teams sporadically. So a lot less of the previous game film on these players, playing them specifically, but it's going to be a fun thing for the viewers.
We continue on here, running time in the BC spring game. We've got a 33-yard field goal attempt coming up right now from Connor Litton, who connected on one earlier, and this kick is up and good. So Connor Litton, again, he's been the starter the past 2 years, struggled at times last year. Jeff Hafley saying that it's an open competition with Connor Litton and Liam Connor. And so far, Litton has performed well. Now here's Connor with a kick. So here you go, pressure on Liam Connor.
No better example of competition than you kick one, then you kick one. Let's see who does it better.
Like a long drive contest, and Connor and Litton each connect there. So some encouraging signs here in the game. If you're just joining us, let's take a look back at the first half highlights. And obviously, Mark, a lot of interest in the performance of the quarterback, Emmett Morehead, 13 of 22 throwing the football, but he did have that interception there.
Yeah, and that was due to the pass rush and a little bit late on the release. This was just a really good catch on the outside by Taji Morris, and then Dino Tomlin with his little shimmy in the end zone, touchdown pass. But I like the way, again, that's not a good example of it, I like the way he used his feet to get open, did make throws downfield. It was a good catch by Xavier Coleman, kind of working in that slot, not as much in running back position anymore, but the defense did what the defense does here at BC. They created turnovers. They got away from that last year, weren't able to get as many turnovers, but when Boston College defense is zinging, like under Don Brown in those years especially, they were turnover machines. Interceptions, forced fumbles, opportunistic plays. And then we saw a lot of good stuff from the offense moving up and down the field with Emmett Morehead, the new face of this football team.
Morehead, 13 of 22, 161 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. I thought you made a great point about Emmett Morehead. Look, the fact of the matter is, this is really the first time that he's getting the practice reps that he needs. He wasn't getting them with the first team for most of the season last year with Phil Jurkovec at quarterback. And look, this is a guy who, because of COVID, was robbed crucial time at the high school level.
Yeah, last time he started before that end of the year last year, and that Duke game was a junior year of high school. So, I was a junior year of high school. I was a boy, right? Like those years are pretty huge in terms of development, understanding, hey, this is what I can actually do with my arm. This is what I can do with my leg. I'm able to put the knowledge of football into practice more. And so without any of that time in the beginning of last year training camp, I'm just excited to see a guy. Look, we have an offense in place. We have our run game coordinator in Applebaum back, who does the offensive line similar to where he was 2 years ago, and just feel that rhythm and have that confidence from his teammates.
You see Jack Brandon in at quarterback for the first time throwing downfield. First throw is intercepted. Nice play by C.J. Clinkscales, the redshirt freshman, getting an opportunity to sparkle here in the spring game. And Clinkscales with the interception of Jack Brandon.
Good job going up and catching the football. Some of the young DBs in there now.
And while we have a moment, let's welcome in the man who will be snapping the football to Emmett Morehead and Matthew Reevy. Whoever else is under center, it's Drew Kendall. Drew, thanks for the time today. I want you to do us a favor and describe what it's been like for your offensive line this spring relative to what things were like last year.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. We have to step up. Last year wasn't good enough, and we brought in some guys to help us out and got a lot bigger. We got healthy. We're really excited to get going.
Yeah, Drew, a lot of people don't know, but you had a lot of injuries last year. You missed one game with the broken hand, and playing on a torn meniscus, but you toughed it out. How much better does your body feel now as opposed to maybe the end of the season last year?
Oh, way better. It's been great. Spring ball's been really good. Winter to get healthy. We had like a month off there in December, January area. Get healthy, get my wrist better, get my knee better, and feel a lot better. Getting through the season was tough, but I'm glad I was able to fight through it.
Have you ever shot a T-shirt cannon before? Is that a first for today?
That was a first. That was awesome. That was fun.
Are you going to take this T-shirt cannon and utilize it on Monday during the marathon? I think that's something you should ask the athletic department about.
I would love to. Yeah, I should ask them.
There you go. Shoot out some of those blue and yellow 617 jerseys for sure.
Exactly.
Now, what does it mean for you? Again, obviously a lineage here at Boston College. You've been around this organization your entire life. What does it mean for you to be that kind of rock, the center of this offense? And it all starts with you.
Yeah, it's really an honor. I mean, I'm right where I want to be, right where I've always wanted to be. To get that center spot, kind of be the focal point of the offensive line and the offense. It's truly an honor, and I'm really excited and can't wait to show what we can do next year.
Hey, Drew, what's it like having, we haven't seen him today, but what's it like having Christian Mahogany to your right back and healthy, and what you've seen from him in practice?
Oh, it's great. I mean, Christian's an incredible player. He's huge, and it's always nice to have a really big guard next to me. Help out with those no's. But yeah, no, I'm really excited. It's been great. He's taught me a lot along the way, and I'm excited to get him back.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for your time. We love watching you play, and stay healthy and have a fun year.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Drew Kendall, one of the anchors of that offensive line, along with Christian Mahogany and Ozzie Trapillo, and then we'll find out who else when competition ramps up in the fall. Running time here in the second half of the BC Spring Game. Back in Chestnut Hill, alongside Mark Hertzlick, Kevin Connors with you, and what's been a celebration of Boston College football and an entertaining spring game here as we near the conclusion of this one. Running time here in the second half. Is there one particular storyline, Mark, for you that has stood out so far in the action we've seen?
Well, I think it's they've excelled in areas that you expect them to excel at, right? The defensive backfield, where they have the experience and they have the talent, and they have the coaching pedigree of Coach Hafley and Coach Abdul Rahim. They've shined. They really have done a good job. I've also been impressed with the offensive line. Again, the offensive line is the biggest focus on this team coming into the year, especially after the year last year. And they have held the pockets well. They've done a good job of finding their assignments in some of the gap scheme run game, pulling up the linebackers. And then you saw the edge pressure, right? We talked about Donovan Ezraku. He got to the quarterback a couple times. And so those are the guys that you want to make plays. They're making plays. As another interception in the end zone by the defensive backfield. That's Carter Davis, the true freshman that Coach Hafley said might get some real looks and some time this year for this team.
A true freshman stepping in the spring game and having an impact. And it's part of what has been a theme here. Look, every spring practice on every campus in the country, there's competition. But that was one thing that stood out to me, what Jeff Hafley had to say, is that it's as competitive a spring as he's ever had since he's been here at BC.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean like the offense has been competing against the defense. What he means is that we have quality guys on our number twos that are pushing the starters for their jobs. And that type of competition breeds more effort. It allows for these players to really say, okay, if I want to keep my job, I need to excel, rather than, he was alluding to last year, there's just not anybody behind to push because of the injuries. So the competition was less internally in the rooms and more competition, I guess, externally with the other teams or the competition.
A day where we're seeing the stars of the present and future emerging for Boston College, and you can't help but walk into the stadium and see the Eagle Elite, the jerseys that have been retired. I've had the fantastic honor of sitting next to a Boston College legend. I know that there's a connection for you and Luke Kuechly, who was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame this past January. He'll be inducted in December, the 11th Eagle in the College Football Hall of Fame, and someone who you know well from your time here at Chestnut Hill.
Well, Luke's the best dude ever. I mean, anyone who meets Luke Kuechly understands that. He's a tenacious football player. I mean, he was a guy that was so into his work, into the study of the game. He excelled physically. You know, I've known him forever. I had him as a recruit. I hosted him on the official visit and came to BC and just flourished at BC and the NFL. So congratulations to him and that College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and the next great linebacker here at Boston College, Cam Arnold, is joining us now.
How we doing?
Cam, thanks for the time here today, and it's been a fun afternoon seeing you guys out on the field in game competition for the first time in a long time. How do you describe the identity of your defense?
The identity of our defense, we just build off each other. We bring a lot of energy every day. Everybody, you know, we all lead in different ways. And we really just try to bring in energy from the jump, start fast as a whole defense, and just really get going together.
You know, Cam, you transitioned well into a linebacker, right? You were more of a defensive back before. Now this is your third year at linebacker, if I'm not mistaken. Talk to me about your development in terms of the mental game and the physical game that linebacker position requires, and how you've gone through that over the past 3 years.
It wasn't that hard of adjustment. When I first got here, I played safety. They told me that they wanted to move me to linebacker, and I was all for it. I have a really good linebacker coach, Coach Duggan. He's done a really good job developing me over these past 2 years, and you know, he's done a great job with other guys too. I mean, like Bryce, JB, Riz. They've never played linebacker before until they got here, and you know, everybody's just adjusting really well, adjusting to being in the box more and the physicality and everything. So I think it's been a pretty good transition overall, and I think others are showing their transition as well, and it's just proof to show.
What's it like? Everybody across the defensive line, you know, look at their weights from last year to this year. I think everybody on your D-line has gained at least 10 pounds. Some guys 15 pounds, Quan gained like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
But when you have those bigger guys up front, talk about the freedom you have at linebacker to flow a little bit faster.
It's awesome. You know, those guys, they're holding on to those double teams. You know, we can get downhill. We have a lot more run-through ability. And it's just really good. You know, I think all our DNs are over 250 pounds. So, I mean, that's really good too. But yeah, it's been really nice seeing the D-line and them transition and just helping us play more downhill and free us up more as a second-level defenders.
What was your favorite play so far in this spring game to watch? Was it Amarri Jackson's interception, his reception?
I'd probably say the reception. That was pretty funny.
That was pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, they put him at receiver. I thought he was still on defense. I didn't even see him line up at receiver at first.
Well, you and us both. We called it like he was on defense. We thought he had his third pick.
Yeah.
Did you go over to the coach and say, hey, coach, I can play tight end? Did that conversation happen after that?
I thought about it. I went up to him. I was like, yo, I could go to running back. Or, you know what I mean? But, nah, they just told me, chill out.
That's good. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Really excited to watch you guys this season. And take care. Have fun on Monday. It's a great day here in Boston.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Cam Arnold with us here. Look, I don't blame him. I mean, Amarri Jackson lines up at running back. We had Christian Mahogany last year in the backfield. I wouldn't blame Cam if he lobbied for some playing time.
I see Andre Hines right there. Run the ball physically into the end zone. Got the puller, Jackson Ness. Oh, there you go.
7-yard touchdown run for Andre Hines, the redshirt junior. Time winding down in the second half here of the Boston College spring game. We'll take a break, come back and wrap things up after this. We're back at Alumni Stadium, running time here in the second half. Jackson Treaster, the short run there. We had Jamari Jones with another interception of a new quarterback, Peter Delaportis, in the game. And boys, some familiar quarterbacks in new places here in the ACC.
Yeah, you start off Brennan Armstrong returning to his offensive coordinator from Virginia 2 years ago, going to NC State, hopefully getting that high-powered offense back. Sam Hartman's probably the biggest storyline. The fantastic player at Wake Forest going to Notre Dame, and you see the rest of them quarterbacks are transitioning like it's free agency here in college football, and hopefully they find the right spots for them. Emmett Morehead's looked good today.
Keaton Slovis on to yet another team. He'll be quarterbacking at BYU. And Jeff Hafley, the head coach at Boston College, joins us again as time winds down on the spring game. Jeff, sparkling effort defensively for your team. How do you kind of put things in context today?
Pretty vanilla, just overall. Glad everybody got in. We had a great turnout. Had a huge youth clinic today, which was awesome. Good to have the family here. But yeah, we were pretty vanilla. I think we ran 2 or 3 routes on offense and 1 or 2 runs on offense and played 1 or 2 coverages on defense. I like the effort. I like to see some guys make play on the perimeter. I'm happy everybody stayed healthy and it was a great day. So can't say enough about the spring, about all the work these guys have done. I'm really excited to get to training camp and continue this journey with this team.
Coach, what does the next few weeks look like for these players and you coaches after this spring ball is over and they go into finals and whatever they have to do academically?
Yeah, well, obviously, Mark, you would know here, the classes aren't exactly easy, so this will be a huge couple of weeks academically as we get ready for finals. They'll continue to work out in the weight room with Coach Matus. The coaches will get ready to hit the road recruiting, so they don't really have much time off. So we'll wrap this thing up quickly. They'll get on the road. I'll be here around the players, but then it will be back to work.
And Coach, Monday Marathon is going to be out there, right? Going down Comm Ave. You going to be out there with your solo cup cheering on the runners?
Only if Mark's next to me. If Mark's next to me, then I'll rock one with him. That's the deal, Mark.
All right, we'll be there.
I appreciate you guys, man. What a great day. What a great turnout. Proud of the guys this spring. Really pleased with where we're at. We got a lot of work to do, but really good start.
Thanks, Coach. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Go get with your boys in the locker room. Have fun.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Jeff Hafley, head coach of the Boston College Eagles, and the countdown is on to the opener, September 2nd against Northern Illinois. We'll put a bow on the Boston College spring game coming up right after this. Back at Boston College, the legend Doug Flutie honored with the statue outside Alumni Stadium, the lone Heisman Trophy winner in the history of this great program. As I sit next to a Boston College great in Mark Hertzlich and put a bow on what we saw here today in the spring game.
Yeah, I just saw guys having fun, right? They came out here, they played hard. The defensive backs, they shined. They had a couple of interceptions in the game. I think Jeff Hafley talked about it. He said you'd like to see a little bit more plays made on the perimeter from the wide receivers. But you saw the offensive line hold up well. The defensive line get a few pass rushes here and there. And everybody stayed healthy. They're ready for the fall.
The biggest, most important thing for our producer, Russell Ken, our director, Josh Demers, Brendan Flynn, the sports information director, Jamie Carrick, my spotter, Mike Rodolfi, our stats man, and Mark Hertzlich. I'm Kevin Connor saying good afternoon from Alumni Stadium at Boston College.